Manchester United 2, West Ham 1. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. Pre-season officially underway. We had that Leeds game, but this is the proper stuff now. Give me your initial thoughts on that game.
I was pretty happy. I thought we looked fresher than I've seen us in a long time on pre-season. More prepared for the start of the season in a pre-season game than I can remember, actually. Which probably sounds mad hyper-giddy, which I don't think it's hyper-giddy, but I saw nice positive signs, and it was the freshness and the intensity, I thought, with that, what I'm going to call the first 11, that I thought was real nice. I thought the tempo just really fell out of the floor with the second 11, to be honest. Did you?
Yeah, I think with that amount of subs, it's always going to happen anyway. But especially, I think the quality of the players went down as well. There was a few sort of starting 11 changes that I think caught the eye, and I want your thoughts on how they panned out. I think first of all, seeing Mainoo and Ugarte as that pivot with Bruno further up. I know partly because Mbeumo's not ready in terms of fitness, but I think Mainoo in particular next to Ugarte, I was interested in seeing how that went. And the other one for me was the centre backs. I thought seeing that Heaven and Yoro both starting over Maguire in this instance. How did you think those two sort of decisions worked out?
Where's Mazraoui?
I don't know, actually, because he's not played again today.
Yeah. I think that's why we saw Heaven, because I still think, I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I still think Mazraoui would probably be in there ahead of him. Obviously, I think Martinez would be in there ahead of him should he get to match fitness. I thought Heaven shown a couple of bits where you can he's still learning his craft, and you can see, I think he's got mad potential. But I think he was still just learning his craft just a little bit. I thought Yoro was pretty comfortable. And do you know what? I can't remember any mad standout points for him because he was just unflustered for the entire. He was just kind of, I don't want to say coasting because that suggests that he wasn't trying hard. Yeah. I just think he was untroubled. I think he coped really well with anything that they had, and I think all the threat that they had didn't really come down his side either. It was just kind of other areas of the pitch. I thought it was good to see, actually, and I thought you mentioned Mainoo. I thought it was some real nice sort of press-resistant moments from Mainoo where he was taking the ball in some interesting positions. I don't think he broke the lines as much as I would want to see from what I'm presuming is him in the 8. Yeah. I think you're going to want him a little bit further up and more impactful in the final third as the 8. If you're the one that's playing alongside Ugarte, Ugarte's going to be the one that's dealing with the defensive duties. So I thought it was good, but I think there's still bits to add to his game before you could see him. And I'm well aware this channel might become a Mainoo propaganda channel. We just managed to ask Ugarte. You did a very good job. Getting a question of his partner in Ugarte. Maka got one in a press conference yesterday to the gaffer. And then I was with Rio today, and Rio's I think the headline for his video was "Build the team around Mainoo." So between us, I think we're on about 15%.
It's very pro Mainoo at the minute. But in terms of Ugarte then, because I know that a lot of people haven't always been big fans of him. I think there was, especially toward the end of last season, that West Ham game put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, losing the ball and basically just sitting on his arse while the goal went in. I thought personally he looked really good today. On the ball, off the ball. There was that one clip in particular where he, gets that good tackle in, dribbles through a couple, lays it off to Ahmad. It was offside, but he put the ball in the back of the net. What do you make of him and just what we've seen from him tonight and potentially looking forward? Because he's someone that he's got some opinions to change, I think.
Yeah, I think he has probably got some opinions to change. I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the opinions I saw on him and on De Ligt last season. I thought both of them were fine signings. Okay. That I think people just kind of looked at the position we were in and assumed that they were shit. I thought, it's weird because I thought they were fine. I thought Ahmad had a good season when he played, and Bruno was sensational, and you go, cool, why are we 15th though? Well, how the fucking hell's that happened? And maybe it is just as simple as we didn't score goals, therefore everybody else kind of did what they were trying to do, but there weren't enough goals scored by everybody else. I thought tonight, there was moments where he was doing well in his duels. I thought actually the team did well in its duels across the board. Actually, I thought Dorgu and Ahmad maybe were probably the base of where our squad performance was, and maybe Heaven a little bit as well. Otherwise, I thought there were some nice touches, and we've we've gone here, whatever, 5 or 6 minutes in now talking about how tonight's game went, and you've not even mentioned Bruno Fernandes, who scored a couple of decent goals. He also created quite a fair bit. He was pulling off into the sort of half spaces. He was putting a lot of crosses in, but he was putting crosses into like Dorgu and stuff, and it just wasn't quite landing.
On the Bruno thing, because he's like obviously last season the only sort of, I would say he had a pretty close to world class season in terms of his numbers, especially it was world class. I think as far as number 10s or attacking midfielders go, he had more output than anyone basically on the planet. But it's kind of goes back to the first question, because if Mainoo and Ugarte are playing there, where's Bruno? Then he's in the 10. But then if Mbeumo comes in, where's Bruno? Like, is he almost a victim of his own versatility, of his own availability? Where do you want to see him play, and where do you think he's best?
I would probably adapt to a 3-5-2 and have him in a free role, and I would probably go Ugarte, Mainoo behind him, and Mbeumo and Cunha ahead of him, and make him make things happen, and have Ahmad and Dorgu as your wing backs either side, and I think that would be your offensive 7. Attack with 7, defend with 3, or attack with 6 and let Ugarte in the back 3 do your defending, maybe. And I think that might be what I would do, but I'm not the manager. And the problem I have with our entire midfield, I think Casemiro, Ugarte, Mainoo, Bruno, everybody that's in that midfield, I don't think a single one of them is a natural in this system. I think there's compromise with every single selection that you make, and maybe the versatility of that is positive, and you can cater it to whatever your opposition is better. Maybe it's because maybe you don't need the same starting 11 week in, week out, and maybe that's just a 40-year-old idea that doesn't actually work in modern football. Maybe modern football, with the emphasis on particular tactics and pressing structures and how to break certain defensive structures down, maybe it requires a new key every week. Maybe it isn't the starting 11 game where you go, what's my best 11? Well, who are we playing? Yeah. So my feeling is that there isn't a natural team, but what we've got is depth. Even if we haven't got like genuine world-class players in specific positions, although I would argue Bruno Fernandes is playing at a world-class level at the moment. In the midfield, you've got options. In the forward line, should you manage to get a number 9 over the line, and well, fuck knows what's going to happen with Højlund, but you've got, let's say it's Ollie Watkins for argument's sake, you've got Mbeumo, you've got Cunha, you've got Watkins. There's a really potent Premier League proven front three. I thought Cunha was very good tonight. I've not even touched on that. No. And then in behind them as backups, you've got Mason Mount, you've got Joshua Zirkzee, you've got Rasmus Højlund. You've got 6 in for free there before you even have to start looking at academy players. So that's depth. And then we've already kind of touched on the depth that you've got in defence. You've got, I think, probably Martinez, De Ligt, and Yoro as your first choice 3. But then you've got Mazraoui, Maguire, Shaw, Heaven as your second choice 3. So I think you're starting to build a set of options and a set of a squad, and it might end up being a quicker click to start being competitive again. Whether or not that's a team that can win the league, I don't think it is. But I think you can certainly be better than 15th as long as you get that 9.
I was just going to say, have you changed your opinion on what we need? Obviously, you're not going to change it on one opinion, but with I feel like we saw a bit more of Cunha's personality today. He's kind of in that transition between the midfield and the attack. Do you think him and what he brought emphasises the lack of attackers, emphasises a lack of specific midfielders, or do you just think we need a number 9? I haven't changed my opinion on that.
No, we need a number 9. I think a midfielder next. I can still make the case for a right wing back. And then you can start looking at the goalkeeper, I think, once you've put them fires out. Yeah.
In terms of Cunha, then, what does he bring that we didn't have before?
Creativity, dribbling ability. Yeah. He's just, he's a bit of a maverick, isn't he? I got quite lucky earlier. Spoke to the gaffer. Nice. And he said Cunha's really impressed him. And he speaks, reeled off a load of languages. I don't actually know which languages he said. Rio was like, exactly like Patrice Evra. He said he's a bit of a social connector. He says he's dead loud on the coach. He goes, he's just settled in fantastic. He goes, his personality is really strong, really great. And it's probably been something that the team needed. And I was like, nice. And then we've had a bit of a showing of him again there, and again he looks like the real deal. He's not come away with a goal, not come away with an assist, but he's coming away pleasing the fans. Yeah. And he's had shots. I think he's had shots. I'm sure I saw him have a shot. Yeah.
We need a bit of that. Just like, I know people always talk about Solskjaer and not being this, but it was fun. It was good to be a United fan for a few years, even if we didn't win anything. We need a bit of that, don't we?
Badly, mate. Because honestly, if it's like the last 9 months,
Right, thank you very much for joining us. This has been a review. Oh, go on.
We are, one game down, 2 to go. Yeah. What's the best food you've had so far?
I think we had a pizza from Prince Street Pizza in New York, a little square piece, just so many pepperonis on it. It was an absolute joke. It looked like a suction cup or something. Unbelievable. What's your best?
I had a brisket sandwich from Buc-ee's. Do you know what Buc-ee's is?
Is it the mega, absolutely ridiculous sort of petrol station vibe?
Joe, they have a warehouse-sized petrol station shop that is like the middle aisle of Aldi, the entire gaff. Honestly, I bought cowhide patterned Stanley Cups.
That's the most you thing ever, that. And the brisket sandwich there?
Brisket sandwich. It was made fresh by ladies, and it was outrageous. And by the way, if anyone's not... 50 lanes. 50-lane petrol station.
Was it busy?
It was like a supermarket. It was insane inside. And the guy that I was with, shout out to Cody, the guy that I was with says to one of the ladies on the counter, it's his first time in a Buc-ee's, she goes, he's got that look in his eye. And I was like... I was walking around. But yeah, Buc-ee's. Americans have kept that one a secret.
I need to go to a Buc-ee's.
By the way, they do these things like nuggets. It's like popcorn, but I can only assume it's got crack in it because they are unreal. Yeah, they were outrageous. So yeah, mate, Buc-ee's brisket and nuggets.
See you in a bit.